Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us. I don't think any industry was as hard hit as yours was by COVID. By the time you became CEO of the U.S. division in November 2021, what was the situation like? What was retention like?
I would say our industry, our plants are probably no different than a lot of the country, Jane. We've worked really hard over the last several years, always keeping in mind that the safety of our workers was priority number one. And so we've worked really hard at that. One of the things that we're very proud of, Jane, is our vaccination rates of our employees. That's been a very top initiative for really our entire senior team. And we've worked through that really quite well. We've got very high vaccination rates for all of our employees across our facilities.
When you became CEO, what was the first new program you initiated to try to attract and retain a workforce?
I think from my standpoint, Jane, it was really about getting to know the organization, but also just letting the organization get to know me. I'd been with the organization for a number of years, leading one of our business units, and so a lot of the company, frankly, wanted to get to know me, my management style. So that was really my first initiative, was just to be visible and to listen.
You have so many different programs that have been initiated with 401ks, just when people are hired, free community college, Hometown Strong. What's that?
That's a great program. Really glad you asked about that. That's investments that we are making in the local communities where we operate. And keep in mind, we operate in very rural areas. So a number of years ago, we've appropriated about $100 million that we're going to be investing in these local communities. And originally we were investing in COVID relief, in community infrastructure, and food security, but we've expanded that now to invest in housing, really helping these small rural communities with housing issues that they might have.
When you're hiring or you're trying to attract employees or keep them, how does that resonate? It seems to me people just want to make more money or maybe have better health care, and something like Hometown Strong. What sort of bang do you get for your buck from that?
Well, our approach on hiring is really three phases. It's the team member, it's the team member's family, and then it's also the community. So we've really looked at all three phases of that, and the Hometown Strong really addresses that community. And we see these investments as a way to make these communities better, to make them stronger, and therefore they'll be a better place for our team members to live, raise their families, and come to work.
You have a very large immigrant workforce. Of all the things you offer, what is most important to them?
Well, I think one of the things that we do very well is to onboard all of our new employees and help them get settled into the community. I mentioned earlier that we've done so much around Hometown Strong, and so they see those investments. But then I think they step back and they look at another program that we haven't talked about yet, Jane, which is our Better Futures program, where they see education, a free college education, a tuition-free college education that they can participate in themselves or their dependents.
What kind of uptake do you have on those programs? What percentage of employees take advantage of something like that?
Well, the Better Futures program is relatively new. We're not quite even 2 years into that program, and we've got over 4,000 team members signed up across all of our facilities, and that's both team members and their dependents are eligible for this program.
It's such a tight workforce. You could go work at a meatpacking plant, or you could go work at an Amazon warehouse, which might be, or even be, work at McDonald's, which might seem easier. How are you differentiating yourself? And is it difficult right now to pull people in and keep them?
Our company culture is really about people. And so when we look at this, we see obviously compensation, wages is important, and we see that as really almost table stakes. But on top of that, we've invested a lot in our facilities to make them better places to work. That's investments in the parking lot and cafeterias, the common areas of the facility. But really beyond that, it then goes on to our Better Futures program. Again, offering that pathway to a higher education, and then really that Hometown Strong program where we can invest in these communities and make those communities a better place. Is it a competitive workforce? Absolutely. And we've made investments in wages over the past several years, but we're really proud of the workforce that we have.
What hasn't worked? I think people listening will want to know, okay, that sounds good. What didn't resonate as you expected it to?
You know, I think that one of the things that we have learned is how important it is to be out into these facilities. Part of my management style, part of our company culture is to be out into our operating plants. So we spend a lot of time out there. So what we've learned is how important that two-way communication is. When we travel out to the plants, we try to have roundtable meetings with our team members to find out how they like working for the company, what's working inside the plant, what's not working inside the plant. And that's something we could always do more of. Could always have done it a little sooner, but we're learning a lot from our team members.
Is it harder to hire or harder to keep right now?
You know, our hiring rates have been pretty good. Always, we're working every single day on employee retention, and it's a competitive environment out there. Therefore, we have to work that much harder.
You grew up on a farm. Most CEOs did not. What in that experience would you like the other people listening to learn from as they are leaders or think about leadership?
You know, my family's owned and operated a farm for a long, long time. I think some of the things that I learned there is hard work. You don't stop until the work is done, and but yet the importance of celebrating when the work is done and enjoying what you're doing.
And as employees change, I've read that they want different things than they did maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I remember in the West Coast, like 5 years ago, you had to offer pet insurance. What are you learning? What is new, and what sorts of perks employees or benefits employees may want?
You know, we're always looking at our benefits programs. In fact, we're looking at those right now. We don't have any major changes on our benefits programs right now, Jane. We're really laser focused on our Better Futures program and this Hometown Strong program as well.
And over the last year, finally, you've been CEO. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in leadership or change in your management style now that you've been on the job?
I think it always comes down to having clear expectations, continue to communicate those expectations, listen, and be consistent. Those would be some things that I've learned over the past year.